Last week, we spent another 1.5 hours talking to Marco Massarutto, Managing Director of Kunos Simulazioni, about Assetto Corsa EVO, and many other international outlets did too, so we learned a lot of new details. I'm going to summarize the key takeaways. How important is the open world feature? Can I skip it? What about multiplayer, ranking, anti-cheat? Has the AI been improved, and so on? Then we got a couple of new cars confirmed, one of which was a surprise, dropped at the end of our stream. Then let's go and see what's new. Welcome back to Overtake, I'm Michel, and in less than a month's time, on 16th of January, Assetto Corsa EVO PC Early Access will begin, although we'll have to wait a bit longer for a new gameplay-changing feature. At 40 by 40 kilometers, the Assetto Corsa EVO open world map, centered around the Nürburgring Nordschleife, is going to be an enormous free-roaming Eifel region playground once it arrives in full. The first part of it is set to be added to the Early Access program in summer of 2025, from where it will be expanded. Think of it as stages with new features and locations coming one after another. And all of it will be drivable, the whole open world area, which means off-roading is also going to be possible in AC EVO. Many had been wondering whether off-road game modes would be a part of the game, and it looks like players will be able to go off the beaten path without issue. We want to make a game that is flexible and variable as possible, said Massarutto. You will not be respawned on the road if you go off the road. The entire area is drivable. If you want to go off-road, you can do that anywhere. Off-road parks that can be found in the area will be part of the experience, not on day one, but as we progress. Similarly, drifting will be possible in the sim as well, and it will even have bespoke gameplay mechanics implemented eventually. Massarutto confirmed we will have specific gameplay for drifting with drift cars and tracks. You will just have to be a bit patient, but you will not be disappointed. Point-to-point racing will also be possible with hundreds of possible stages in the open world, according to Massarutto. What about speed limits, fines, or police even? Well, later on he could imagine the addition of police or players being able to drive other vehicles like ambulances, trucks and so on, but the main focus is on making EVO real immersive without being frustrating. You will not be fined when going over legal limit. Where you should not go under the limits is on fuel or electric charge, because both will have to be replenished if you choose to go down that route. The more realistic you play, the more rewards you can get. It is more up to you than to us how you live the EVO experience. As Assetto Corsa EVO will feature a dynamic day-night cycle and weather system as well, players will be able to experience the Eifel region in a multitude of weather conditions. Snow, however, as we saw in Misha's unveiling, will not be in either. Also in the open world, dynamically forming puddles and dry lines will not make an appearance as they do on the game's other racetracks. Addressing a concern many in the simracing community had since the announcement of the open world in AC EVO, Massarutto had an answer that maybe calmed them down. If you want to, you can completely forget the open world in EVO. It's an additional value, it's not needed. Some of the most downloaded mods are free roam maps. We know they are quite popular in the community, but we also know that there are thousands of sim racers who are not interested. They will have their perfect Assetto Corsa experience on track, and that's exactly what is going to happen in EVO. So the answer to will I be able to just load up a track with a car and hot lap is yes. The proper racing side of things will be just as much a part of AC EVO as the open world will be. Then we saw a report in the German gaming outlet GameStar, where it was made crystal clear that AC EVO would once again be the official title for the GT World Challenge. Unfortunately, it turned out that this will not be the case for the time being. Apparently, this might have gotten lost in translation, as Massarutto did mention GT World Challenge towards GameStar, but only as an example for a themed future DLC that matches real-life championships. Of course, this still tells us that the classic pure sim racing experience will also be part of AC EVO. And they will have some sort of driving academy that Marco Massarutto mentioned a few times now, teaching you about the basics and maybe also advanced techniques of racing. They are connected to their license and in-game economy system. What else can we expect during Early Access? The first release in January will feature 5 tracks and at least 20 cars, with the number of content pieces progressively increasing over time. For the release of version 1.0 expected in fall of 2025, no less than 15 officially licensed circuits will be on board, with more to follow in the months after that. The number will reach 20 in the 4 to 6 months after that. The tracks will cover 5 continents, Massarutto said. As AC EVO is not following a real-life series like Assetto Corsa Competizione does, this will likely mean multiple layouts for tracks that support it as well are possible, just like in the original Assetto Corsa. Of those already confirmed to be in the first early access release, Brands Hatch has, for example, 2 distinct layouts. Imola and Bathurst, though, are single layout tracks, but should the Nürburgring indeed be present in the first early access release, the GP circuit would offer also numerous different configurations, even a rallycross layout, and then there's a Nordschleife that could be thrown into the mix as well, of course. And yeah, the cars recently announced, or in the last 2 weeks, I would say, are the Audi RS3, BMW M2 Competition. We also saw the Chevrolet Camaro sitting there at 27 in Misha's trailer, and yeah, we also now saw images of the Ferrari 488 Challenge Evo, Mazda MX-5 Cup, Toyota GR86, and also the Alfa Romeo Junior. And finally, Massarutto dropped the info of the Audi RS6 also being in the game at the end of our stream. Yeah, no screenshots yet, but this is also very cool. You can also see many of these cars in action in the aforementioned GameStar report, which features a race at Imola that we have not seen before. And yeah, you can see also different perspectives there. Sometimes it's cockpit view, sometimes also chase cam. Multiplayer racing is essential in sim racing in this day and age, and AC EVO will not skip it, of course. If you have been taking a week off to play the sim online with your friends starting January 16, though, you will probably be disappointed to hear that the multiplayer modes will not feature in the first early access release. Instead, they will be added later, according to Massarutto, in the second or third early access release. Eventually, though, multiplayer will feature a driver rating system that improves upon the one found in ACC, and Kunos are actively working on anti-cheat solutions. They admitted that this is a big problem nowadays. And when I asked if it would be possible to fill the online grid with AI cars as well, he said it could not be confirmed yet, but it's not a hard no either. So for everything that is related to the multiplayer experience and how it works in detail, we have to be a bit more patient. Meanwhile, those who prefer racing offline should be in for an engaging time with the game as well. While the Assetto Corsa series is not known for its great AI, I mean, in ACC it's sometimes okay, I would say. But yeah, the single-player opponents in EVO will have more to offer than in Kunos' previous efforts. It's one of the areas where we started with what we did, then refined all the algorithms from scratch, said Massarutto. The studio has created a system that means the AI opponents learn with every lap they turn, and they will also have like different names and personalities if you continue to race them in several cups and stuff. So there will be names you recognize as clean or fast or overly aggressive racers, and yeah, they will keep those traits when you meet them again in other races later on. Yeah, this should on paper add a nice bit of depth to single player sessions. AI drivers will also make unscripted mistakes, so no 2 races will be the same. So if you passed a driver after they messed up a certain corner, but later you crashed out yourself and restart the race, yeah, do not bank on the same driver making the same mistake again. So we're starting to get a feel for what AC EVO will be like. My biggest question mark is still the in-game economy and how the open world and the classic sim racing approach will mesh. If Kunos does this in a cool way, it could be history repeating itself. the success story of Forza Horizon. In 2012, the decision was made to bring the somewhat realistic driving physics of a Forza Motorsport partly into an open-world racing game. Yeah, doing the same thing 12 years later with a sim racing approach sounds promising to me. The success of Assetto Corsa maps like Shutoku shows that there are definitely fans out there for this kind of stuff. Where we remain curious, it's certain that we have to be patient. It will take minimum a year until most of the details we discussed today will be in the final version of AC EVO. Yeah, you can also check out our first interview with Marco Massarutto on the Sim Racing Expo, where we also discussed other topics like VR, for example, and also the modding part a bit more in depth. So if you missed it in this video or our second interview, you should also watch this one. Yeah, enjoy your holidays and see you next time. Bye bye.